What's good, everybody? I'm Jerry, about to check out how good was Prime Randy Orton in WWE. Actually, this video is about Wrestle Fusion. Prime Randy Orton is what's despised. I definitely hated this man during that time. This was like 2007 to like maybe 09, 2010. I hated Randy Orton with a passion. The four wrestlers that I hated the most during that time was Randy Orton, Edge, Kurt Angle, and Mark Henry. I hated those guys with a passion. Randy Orton would be number one next to Edge as like one and the same. To feel my hatred, especially when Randy cut his hair and he started punt kicking everybody in the head. Man, dude was definitely one of the greatest heels of the Ruthless Aggression Era. But in my household, I hated that man so much, so bad. But we about to hop into this video and see how good Prime Randy Orton was. Let's go.
Randy Orton in his prime was pure evil.
Yes.
Prior to this, Orton was already the legend killer. He was
When he was
legends
legend killer,
skull,
he was spitting
putting
in
them
people's
into
faces.
hospitals, and he'd already feuded against the likes of Mick Foley, Hulk Hogan, and The Undertaker.
Yep.
But after the split of Rated RKO, after Edge went to SmackDown and Orton was on his own again, this man turned into the biggest villain on Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
He made John Cena's life miserable.
He
destroyed the McMahons,
John
and nobody
Cena's
was
dad.
safe from the wrath of the Viper. So, how dominant was Randy Orton during his prime? How does his championship reign compare to other legends like John Cena, Triple H, and Edge? What made his transition into the Viper so iconic? Let's take a trip down memory lane and revisit the prime of one of the biggest villains in WWE history. Orton's evolution into WWE's most cold-blooded predator began with his pursuit of John Cena's WWE Championship in the summer of 2007. What started as a standard championship storyline quickly evolved into something far more disturbing. Orton was named the #1 contender for Cena's WWE title, and his strategy was simple. Attack the champion at every opportunity you get and soften Cena up for their match at SummerSlam. But SummerSlam didn't go according to plan. Despite his evil tactics, Orton lost the title match when Cena hit the FU for the victory. A lesser performer might have accepted defeat and moved on,
He did.
but Orton wasn't a lesser performer. The next night on Raw, when William Regal denied his rematch request, Orton appealed directly to Vince McMahon. The chairman agreed to grant Orton his rematch, but on one condition. Orton had to prove that he wanted the title shot bad enough. Randy accepted the challenge, and what happened next established Orton as WWE's most ruthless antagonist. During Cena's match with King Booker, Orton interfered and crossed a line that shouldn't be crossed. After assaulting Cena, he turned his attention to Cena's dad, who was sitting at ringside supporting his son. Orton attacked Cena's father, kicked him in the head, and proved that he was willing to go to any lengths to become WWE champion. This act of cruelty earned Orton his rematch at Unforgiven, but Super Cena got his lick back and walked out with the title. But more importantly, during his feud with Cena, something started to change inside Randy. The pretty boy from Evolution was gone. The legend killer was starting to transform, and he was replaced by a calculating predator who would do whatever it took to achieve his goals. When he adopted the Viper nickname after injuring Cena on the October 1st episode of Raw, it felt like the perfect evolution of his character. Orton's RKO on the announce table put Cena on the shelf and forced him to vacate the WWE Championship. Orton had achieved his goal of becoming the top star on Raw through patience and calculated violence. Vince McMahon awarded Orton the championship at No Mercy, but Triple H decided to ruin the party. The game would defeat Orton in the opening contest of the night to win the title, but Orton would get the last laugh and walk out as the new face of WWE as No Mercy went off air. By October 2007, Randy had successfully transformed from the legend killer to WWE's most dangerous champion. The stage was set for a reign of terror that would define the next 2 years of his career.
Yes. It was like he was
Orton's
unbeatable.
championship reign wasn't just about defending the title. It was about systematically breaking down every challenger who dared step into his path. Shawn Michaels was his first major test. When HBK returned to Super Kick Orton during his championship coronation, it reignited their rivalry from earlier in the year. At Cyber Sunday, Orton low-blowed Michaels and intentionally got himself disqualified to retain the title. The follow-up at Survivor Series was even more calculated, with the stipulation that Michaels would lose his title shot forever if he used the super kick, while Orton would lose the championship if he got disqualified. Towards the end, Orton managed to one-up the veteran Michaels and steal the win after a vicious RKO. Orton's next challenge came in the form of the returning Chris Jericho. Their brief feud ended at Armageddon, with
I remember when
JBL's
Chris Jericho
interference
came
helping
back.
Orton retain the title via disqualification. Orton's next challenger was none other than Jeff Hardy, and this is when the Viper started reaching new levels of cruelty.
He punted
When Orton
Matt,
punted Matt Hardy
so
in the
Jeff
head,
had to get
it was a
revenge.
clear statement that nobody was safe from Orton's wrath.
This when Jeff hit
retaliated by
that
performing a
Swanson. I
bomb
remember
from
watching
30
this
feet
shit.
high, which created one of the
This
most memorable
crazy as
moments
hell.
in Raw history. Orton defeated Hardy at the Royal Rumble to retain the title, but a familiar foe
Like, I
returned
remember
to foil the
watching
party.
all of this.
John Cena's
Cena
return
came
from
back.
injury at the 2008 Royal Rumble
He wanted his
created
rematch the
Orton's
next
greatest
night.
challenge yet. Cena won
But
the
he had to
Rumble
wait.
and demanded his title shot immediately,
Yeah,
rather
on
than
Raw.
waiting for WrestleMania.
He had to wait,
At
though.
No Way